generation of Game 2, but now it all comes down to this one final game. Close out this best of 3 and see who is going to be moving up or down the standings. Samsung move back over to the blue side, Longzhu over on red.
And historically, that would be a big advantage to Samsung, right? This series has gone red side, and you might ask why. Why is red side doing well? But remember that a lot of the drafts have been about counterpicking top lane and getting a pressure matchup in the top lane. The Gnar was last picked by Cuvée in Game 2, and now Khan has access to try to get a priority top lane matchup. So maybe Cuvée will just lock in something safe that can push on the top side, maybe take away the Renekton, and actually force Longzhu to find a strong pick, because Khan historically has played the Fiora. He even played the Mordekaiser last time out to try to get an advantage in the Renekton matchup. So let's see what Longzhu can engineer, because so far it has been decided around that top lane priority.
I expect the Zac to be the final ban away here from Longzhu.
Gives Caitlyn over again, though, to the side of Samsung.
That it does. Could just see Prey answer yet again with the Jhin, if that's going to be the case. So yeah, there we go. Caitlyn locked in. So pretty much the same bans from both sides, just the Lee Sin, the only change that Samsung has made. Say, okay, you know what? We'd rather you have the Elise than for you to have the Lee Sin.
Yeah, at least Jhin would be the obvious rotation here from Longzhu. Could go for the Ashe as well, if they want to choose that route.
I mean, it was a frontline turret Ashe, as you said, from Prey there in game number 2.
The Jhin was banned in Game 2, so perhaps we will see Prey favoring the Jhin over the Ashe. Losing out on his trademark Ashe is always a sad moment, but his accuracy on the Jhin was still super good in Game 1, so can't necessarily complain too much about the scenario, as do Longzhu. They do pick up 2 power picks, giving away the Caitlyn to Samsung.
Yeah. And Ambition, yet again, just very swiftly going to lock in that Rek'Sai. So legacy pick for him, recently buffed on at 712. Seems like the right time here for him to just go ahead and just reconform to that one. We saw Gragas from him in Game 1. Wasn't really able to get much done with that.
And this was the reconform I was wondering about. Do we just see Taliyah into Orianna when it's available on the red side here for Longzhu Gaming? They would have taken... They didn't take it in Game 1 in this scenario, but of course it was a different style of draft, and they will actually hold down from committing to the Taliyah. Would have been that pushing lane early into Orianna. Could go a different way. Something like Corki is a possibility for sure in the mid lane. But they just take the Tahm Kench as a answer to not much. It's interesting they draft Tahm Kench in the scenario they do, because sure, you can potentially block away the impact of the now single man knock-up coming through from Ambition, but otherwise Orianna is one of the strongest drafts into the Tahm Kench, just pulling him into the fight and stopping the power of the Devourer from getting out of situations. Handing away the Bard, which is one of the easiest long-range ways to interrupt the curtain call, and finally we do see a Renekton ban that I think might actually get pushed up the draft in future series, but for now, second round ban on the side of Samsung.
Which means that we're going to be seeing some changes here at the top lane pool. Renekton played by Khan there in games 1 and 2. So we'll have to go towards something a bit different. The Jace, something that has been banned away here by Samsung so far, is left available, but could just be the final one from them.
Longzhu basically need 2 pushing lanes, Achilles, because it's not the Zyra to help the Jhin push in. It is the Tahm Kench, so we'll lose out on the pushing war to Caitlyn. Something like a Corki drafted here would at least have lane control, lane priority over Orianna early, and would allow them to counterpick top lane. They're going to have to draft a top laner blind.
Ooh.
Oh, this is another way to get priority. This is the BDD way. It's much more risky.
And he's got to lock it in. There we go. All right. Corki not even needed to be in the game. We still get the Zed. Everything's fallen into place, Papa Smithy, and I am very happy.
It's so risky. We will see more of it when that Corki meta does hit Achilles into Corki, but we see it here into the Orianna. Now, puts Crown in a bit of a headache summoners-wise, because really wants to take cleanse against specifically the Elise, but the Jhin also.
Yeah, Deadly Flourish there.
But now probably will be forced into taking exhaust for lane phase, so a bit of a one-upsmanship game played by Longzhu. Does get a summoner or initiation possibility into Orianna as the game goes on. Blind pick top laner will be Camille, who saw buffs in this particular patch.
Yeah, passive CD was reduced, so you can get that shield up
Oh, the all-in matchup. Khan can go for his Fiora. This is a good
boy.
matchup for Fiora.
Oh dear, all right.
You know Khan wants it. Will he actually get to lock it though? This would be double split pushing physical damage. He locks it. We're getting all action in the top lane.
That we are. Plenty of 80 here for the side of Longzhu. AP a bit wanting, but it's the same on the side of Samsung. It's going to be an all-out brawl, double split pushers in the top lane. We have the Zed versus the Wombo potential of the Orianna with the Rek'Sai as the ball carrier. Prey yet again on his Jhin. Good lord, this is one of the spiciest drafts that I've seen in a very long time.
You know what the fun thing is? This is the sort of game that snowballs out of control one way or the other. We will not be getting 55-minute base defenses in this particular game. This is the sort of game that will have fire upon fire in the mid game. Feels like whichever team opens up a gold lead, 3,000 to 5,000 in the early game, will have so many tools because Zed and Fiora can both take out the Camille coming through from Samsung. Ambition's going to have to go for another excellent early path to get one of these lanes ahead. BDD back on the Zed. You can't help but love what we're seeing on the Rift. Longzhu with the greatest hits of some of their star picks and plenty of power also on the side of Samsung.
We'll see if Ambition can pull off those repeat ganks yet again down towards that bottom side of the map. Going to be harder now that he's over onto the blue side, but so much on the line for this game here. Samsung looking for first place. Longzhu looking for third. Let's go ahead, load into game 3 and see who's going to come out on top. Longzhu fans, good lord, the loudest I think I've ever heard them.
I mean, you literally have
today.
3 players on their Ultra Comfort famous champions. Khan on Fiora, Cuz on Elise, and BDD on Zed. These are, by far, their most famous picks. And you have Prey on Jhin, our first Jhin of any note in Korea. BDD in the Faker brush. He needs to get out of there.
Yeah, that's going to be the slope coming through. Has to take the W first to go ahead and dash his way to the side. So will not be having the shuriken.
Felt like I was back in MSI and Faker was getting face checked in that brush and dying. The Braum invade at level 1 feels like a blitzcrank because you just go in there as 5, one auto attack comes down, and usually a flash is not enough to get away. Thankfully, BDD could just tech into his W first, which isn't ideal for lane, but got him out without having to use flash.
Gonna make that a little bit more brutal here to start. Once he gets to level 2, things will calm down a bit. Word in the brush. Bridge is hovering around. We'll be able to walk down safely. No further invades coming through. Some deep vision acquired for the side of Longzhu up towards that blue buff. We'll be spotting that one out. As Ambition going to be starting down near these Raptors yet again. Seems like Samsung is going to be handing him a very hefty leash.
Also, big leash onto Cuz. Will be starting blue buff. They have vision of the enemy red buff, so vision advantage to Longzhu, just like in game 1. So maybe Samsung need to tighten some of their invades. A 4-man invade with Braum and a 1-man invade onto the side's a possibility, or at least getting defensive vision. But in this case,
it begins.
They just lose out on vision. Yep, this is a battle we will see on our screens for the majority of this game.
It's finally one of those top lane battles you actually want to watch.
Wait, you're not into Shyvana versus Renekton?
Nope.
This is a really bad matchup for QV.
Yeah.
It got worse when he lost to Stain on W.
At least he got more damage on the second hit of Q.
It actually is quite a lot of damage because
20% increase.
If you look at what it does in the late game for true damage, it can be quite a lot. I think I did some math and I worked out around level 12. It's like 60 damage extra on the Trinity Forces. Yep, these are going to be some flashy top lane battles, Kilios.
I just love the audience in the background. Every time one of the...
Every vital.
Spot, yeah. Oh, and then the riposte. All right, well,
speaking
that's your dash down. Knock-up comes through from Ambition. Flashing in for this one. QV there to cut him off. Khan tries to get out to the side. But First Blood, yet again, picked up by Ambition on this Rek'Sai.
Feels like the old soundboard of the Rek'Sai is still true. The pathing jungler was always the one that really excelled with this particular pick, and Ambition's pathing in game 2 and 3 has been super good. Darting around the top side this time after his bot lane focus in game 2. Gets that little lead, but teleports back into lane. Khan maybe down flash, but nothing else.
Cuz
in the
wrapping
mid
around
lane
from behind, looking for Crown. Speeds himself up with the dissonance. Coon will connect, jukes into it.
Some
Take
damage.
just a bit of damage, but the turret shot's there to basically equalize that exchange.
Reminder that Crown could not take the cleanse he wanted and had to take exhaust, so the flash was blown there. He would be definitely in kill range for the return gank.
Like we saw from game 1. Cuz and Ambition just kind of swapping identities in that sense.
To me, the winning jungler in this game is the one that can actually set up control wards and supremacy around the top side. At least his job is going to be to get a control ward down, really help out Khan, who is in a very good spot as the game goes on. Don't get me wrong, but the threat of Ambition coming back again and again, as was felt in the bot side, will affect how he plays his lane. He is down flash.
Pretty feel bad first purchase there. The rejuve beat on top of the corrupting potion into the Doran's blade.
It's the most power he could get.
That's 150 gold worth of power.
One day it'll be a Tiamat.
He got a control ward as well, so there was another 75 thrown in there. But yeah, one day it will grow into a nice strong Tiamat.
Spotted out on the bot side, was looking to contest the Krugs. Won't be a collapse coming through as Brawler and Core JJ were trading with Frame Gorilla.
It's a bit busy. Riposte's not going to really find anything here for Khan. As QV hurts a lot.
And remember, Khan was kind of the one who was going to have lane priority.
Yeah, stun comes through, Vital comes down, and Khan taking a lot of damage. Technical sweep finds him, QV flashes in, kills him yet again. The solo this time around, 2-0 on the board.
And that was where Khan was supposed to have priority. Achilles now certainly doesn't have priority after the solo kill. Orianna will push in the Zed. Not much threat on Zed. His Cuz spotted though.
BDD dashing forward, Coon connects in onto Crown, Ignite ticking, he'll go down as BDD finds the kill. Cuz comes back in. Ambition into the burrow, Prey Seeker connects, tries to push in for it, but just has to show respect to the turret.
Slimmest of margins in these ganks. BDD chugging just some regen from the Doran Shield passive enough to not die to the level 3 Prey Seeker. But
So very close.
It's such a big headache because unless BDD can have some return ganks from Cuz, can get more snowball on the Orianna, he'll get pushed in. Khan is getting solo killed, and Prey and Gorilla were not able to select the Zyra for lane. They had to take the Tahm Kench for team comp, and thus could be 3 losing lanes and Ambition already on the front foot from the jungle.
And QV already with the Sheen coming back into this one, just to the double long sword of Khan as he tries to get towards that Tiamat. This is going to be... I mean, I feel like if you're under 18, you might not be able to watch that top lane anymore.
We'll hold our rating for now. The ratings board is still in discussion.
I said might.
Exactly, we're in discussions.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys know. For now, it's still T for team.
The MPAA is still reviewing this one.
Ambition's being a huge jerk. He's still top lane. They do suspect smartly that there is a ward in the Tri-Brush, so for now, Rek'Sai not going there.
Oh, well, that's going to the hook shot coming through. Doesn't find the stun, but the Hextech ultimatum is available. And Khan, yeah, he kind of identifies that he's dead to the right, just trying to buy some of Ambition's time, perhaps. Dashes over to the side. Tactical sweep comes through. Will get knocked up. Post not going to block anything, and there we go.
Best you can feel as Khan is that you got him to use his ultimate.
Yeah, it's just a bit of ring around the rosy. Second kill goes through there for Ambition. But third death in a row for Khan, the only one that's given up a kill so far on his team.
Let's get the Tiamat finally, but it feels a bit like an empty thing to talk about. BD hoping to have some heroics in the mid lane, but already Seeker's Arm Guard from Crown. But when you have a 3-0 top lane, you don't have to worry about accelerating yourself as the Orianna. You're very much in the I just need not to die anymore school of thought. It's going to be wave clear from Orianna. Blue buffs will be pretty reliably put over. If you could at least contest the blue buff and force her to use all of her mana bar to clear wars, then you feel a bit better. The wave, sorry, but not going to be able to do that because Ambition has the control of the jungle and 2 kills already. So let's see what Cuz can make happen. Once again has gone very early boots of mobility. Double control ward on the top side. This is not the lane you'd think he'd be able to have.
Passive shield is coming through from QV, just really helping him win out on these exchanges. I mean, the CS is close for Khan, but the gold is going to be nowhere near, given the 102 scoreline here for Cube, because starting to walk his way over. Looking for Crown, who's currently sitting safely underneath that turret.
No, the exhaust is still on cooldown for at least another 10 seconds or so.
Spots him moving around.
Ambition's here too. He
Scouting
moved.
out. That's going to be the Cocoon coming through. They just jump in and BDD snatches it up yet again.
Tremor was almost in range of Curse when he made a slight adjustment to look for the Cocoon. Not quite though, and another kill for BDD, so it's not quite. The sea change has happened in top lane, but it's still something for Longzhu to work around.
I mean, it's the second time that Crown's been caught. Can't even flash or use the exhaust to try to keep himself alive.
Not sure the exhaust was up. Might have just come off cooldown. Was close. Wasn't up at the start of that story. Is okay. Khan's one level down.
Yeah, just going to have to abandon this one. Wave's pushing it. Well, actually, he stops for a second at least. Trying to bait Cuvée to go in here. Khan dashes forward, shield comes out, hook shot through. Cocoon not going to connect. If it had, almost certainly would have been the death of Cuvée. Would have been a nice little turnaround there for Khan, but Kill will be eluding him for a bit longer, perhaps.
And like you say, Khan can at least say he's keeping competitive in CS, which means he'll start to put the items down. As long as he's not full items behind, he's still in a really good spot against Cuvée. Because Hextech Ultimatum will get answered by the ultimate. The Grand Challenge, and the Grand Challenge usually will win out with the healing effect there. Well, has to use Devour, so Prey forced to fall back. But once again, not a big CS advantage, because bot lane has been in no way involved in this game compared to all the action in mid and top side.
Probably won't until we see that Infernal Drake get started up, perhaps. This will get cleared out. Seems like Prey's going to be able to keep up rather nicely. Down by the 1 CS at the moment, as they keep just going back and forth here. So it seems like Essence Reaver start yet again for Prey as the BF sword is picked up.
The smart move here from Samsung is to adjust Ambition's time to the bot side of the map. Even those 2 control wards down, so it's a little bit difficult to pull off. Prey is down to no potions and has no regen, so he can definitely be harassed out of lane. And Infernal Drake that you spoke about is a big prize for Samsung to reward them for their strong early game.
The root there.
Fighting Khan even for just the cross.
Yeah, he's trying to fight him back over this one. Cuvée not even joining in the fight. He's like, oh yeah, you know what? We'll probably have this one, Ambition.
He drops the Grand Challenge.
Back in. Yeah, does drop that one down as BDD starts roaming up, but Ambition takes the tunnel over to the side.
Means he can't really step up to the turret until now. That's because Zed is walking up to help him. Spotted in a ward, back away.
Get a little bit of damage in onto that turret, but not as much as you might think in the meantime, though. Longzhu at least able to get that Infernal Drake for themselves. Khan went back and forth there with Ambition, so just keeping tabs on that jungler, making sure that Longzhu can pick up that first objective of the game.
It's greedy for Khan to still stay with no ultimate up, but he does. That's why Gorilla's coming over.
We also know that Cuz is nearby. Gorilla will cancel out the Abyssal Voyage.
Just wanted to open his mouth and roar. And no more than that.
It was a battle cry.
It was.
Trying to instill some confidence in the Khan. I think it worked.
Feel some confidence about BD, who has the Youmu's already completed, so doesn't care about no Seeker's Arm Guard. In a good spot to go in a side lane himself. Big prize for Longzhu to get a side turret down, and they can start rejigging their lineup. Send Zed into the Camille until the point where the items are there for Khan, and then re-rotate. So at least one of their side laners is in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, also had that freedom to go straight for the Serrated Dirk then into the Youmu's, because it was really just the Seeker's Arm Guard there for Crown, so it doesn't have to respect that damage of the Orianna yet. So, doesn't necessitate a Hex Drinker. So, just puts BDD in that much stronger of a position.
It's so important for BDD to be this powerful, because consider a game where BDD is just farming with Orianna in the mid lane, and then the 2v2 of the Camille and Rex side would just slam Elise and Fiora, and they would lose their red buff. They would lose control. But because BDD can just Youmu's out of lane and show up 2-0 with a lot of power, they're second-guessing where they're strongest. And actually, overall, Longzhu are keeping competitive even on the top side of the map that should have been Samsung's.
For a second, looked like we were going to have the all-in there. Poor JJ doesn't opt in for that Glacial Fissure. Did have the exhaust to throw down into the prey if they wanted to try to kill Gorilla. Instead, just settle for the harass.
Crown is just looking for something to go his way this series. Been one of Crown's poorest
Yeah,
big series in a long time. Cleaned up well at the end of Game 2, but otherwise has been, victimized, I would say, by BDD, who's been all over him.
He hasn't looked this bad since he was really first trying to pick up Syndra.
Even played well in that famous 3-0 loss to KT in the semifinal. The rest of his team, specifically Cuvée, had a down day, but this is Crown at his weakest. Could still win the series for certain. Samsung Galaxy.
Trying to bait Cuvée in here. Grand
Get a Vital.
Challenge is ready to go. Just find the one, looking for another one as Cuz comes pushing through. But Cuvé's got the hook shot to take himself up the wall right as the ultimate comes through.
The most they get is Control War. They won't be able to contest the blue buff either. Micro victory for Longzhu, nothing more. Prey just holding back. Very low on mana in the bot lane. Still competitive though. And the turret is surprisingly healthy, given the scenario.
Yeah, just now really taking a bit of damage. Silver Peacemaker just fine. A bit of value there as he keeps chunking out Gorilla, trying to target him down. Prey has to go over, pick up that honey fruit, try to sustain himself back up.
Gives him one more round of spells, and thus maybe buys the turret another minute of life. It's just very much a containment thing in the side lane. Khan hasn't really been able to add on any items recently, and Gorilla and Prey getting low.
Takes the haul out. Gorilla's making sure that he can, well, I was going to say recall safely, but yet again, the Q from the Caitlyn comes through, denies that back. Ambition poking his head around, will be spotted out by the ward here.
Khan is actually going Trinity Force as well, so going a very pricey build. He's going to also be dedicated to the split push. It is a true 1-3-1 from Longzhu. Main problem with the 1-3-1 though is that Jin is the wave clear, and he's not fantastic wave clear, so really need pressure in the side lanes to make up for the fact that Caitlyn will outpush in the side lane. In the mid lane, sorry.
Good WQE from Zed, just throw
He's
out
going to be
everything
side
you
lane.
got.
He's not going to be grouped. It's Elise, Tom Kench, and Jin. We got a volatile spider from Kilios.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the first brick going over here to Samsung. Pressuring up in the bottom side of the map. They take that one down. 2.3 thousand gold now in the lead. 3-2. Very slow compared to the first two games. Just the two objectives being taken. First turret and that first dragon over Longzhu. As Khan desperately tries to farm up here. Desperately tries to get that vital, but it's in the most annoying spot, really.
Once Trinity Force is finished, he has 5 points in his queue. We'll start to feel that buff you were speaking about when it comes to the percentage of damage on Q, which continues to scale up as the game goes on. In better stead to win trades, especially given that lifesteal hasn't been completed by Khan yet. Kaz spotted on a ward.
Yeah, he's going to get pinched on. Has to flash over the wall. Core JJ coming forward. Throws out the Glacial Fissure, but the repel is there. Now straight into the knock-up when he comes back down, but Gorilla has the Devour.
Actually pops the damage of the Orianna ult as well, so nothing goes on to the members of Longzhu.
Because keeps himself alive. Core JJ wrapping around the sidelines. We'll get a nice little cheeky interrupt, but Samsung in the meantime posturing for it, trying to get this tier 1 turret taken down in the mid lane. Knocking down to about half HP. Still can't quite find it, Khan. Has rotated down, trying to back up his squad.
He could have gone could have gone cleanse this game, just to cleanse exhaust. Sounds weird, but saw a lot of cleanse Zed the last time Zed was in meta. Doesn't have a QSS either, and it's not really very threatening when he jumps in because double exhaust available from the side of Samsung. Will just park himself in a side lane. His first visit to a side lane always feels worse when it's there because your turret is down, but at least the map is a bit more open for the Zed to try to take over a side lane.
A bit of power now behind this Fiora with that Sheen. As you said, going to be looking for the Trinity Force, so very squishy for a very long time. As Ambition picks up that Ocean Drake, and we'll have a second Infernal to follow.
Needs reinforcements in mid lane, or they'll lose more of this oh-so-important mid lane turret health.
Bit out of mana here. Concussive Blows almost gets procced as Gorilla arrives, flashes in. Cocoon comes down on the backside of that tongue lash of the Core JJ. Would have the Devour, but he can't get in range to eat him up, and the Deadly Flourish will not connect. Now BDD going in, immediate exhaust comes through. as he will get locked up when he dashes back to the original shadow. Goes low in the meantime, challenge thrown down onto Cuvée, but he has such an advantage as far as the HP is concerned that Khan just has to back off.
This is all with Orianna free pushing in bot lane as well, so it's a 5v4 scenario.
Cuvée, does he do it?
For Longzhu.
Hook shot. He doesn't.
Samsung winning in every lane. I mentioned the struggles they would have with the Jhin in the mid lane trying to wave clear, as Khan is still putting together items, as BDD was called out of bot lane to visit mid, blow and exhaust and nothing more. Longzhu losing this match across the map, not in triumphant ways. The mid lane turret's still alive for at least a couple more moments. Teleport used to just the minion wave from Cuvée, wants to keep the pressure up in top side. But if Samsung keep getting the run of the map like this, they'll keep adding on turrets.
Yeah. Second one gonna go down. Special Fisher thrown out there by Core JJ just to zone everybody back. Got that mid-tier 1. And you have to question whether or not the mental fortitude here of Longzhu is wavering a bit more than that of Samsung's after game 2.
It's fair to speculate. It hasn't necessarily been a tilty game. Khan was just caught by a nice pathing from Ambition, and the rest happened.
We're just behind on a lot of these rotations.
They try and be first. They're dealing with Tremor Sense. They're dealing with wards that have been pushed up. It's not like they've had opportunities that they've really not taken. It's more that what they're being allowed to do is pretty minimal. Spray will not die. But this is all as Rift Herald is going for Samsung.
Crown doesn't have enough power to go ahead and take him out, but a little bit more. Swap out that Seeker's Arm Guard with something else of equal value that is probably going to be pretty dead. And
it's worth mentioning that Longzhu don't really have a team comp to deal with the Rift Herald very well either, because of the multiple times mentioned minimal wave clear. Ambition doesn't even need to use it for the outer top lane turret. It's a very late Rift Herald at about 1950. Get an objective in the bot lane, so hang around BDD. They have got something. It's pushing into an inner turret, and Orianna has to play side lane. She's going defensive because they spotted Cuz. There still is something. It's some pressure to Longzhu in a game where they really haven't been able to pressure.
Good forward step. Horus coming off the back of BDD right now. Only member to have any kills. Both of the two that have been picked up. But yet again, not going to be that bloodthirsty of a game early on.
And the what-ifs of this game are not the same as the what-ifs of Game 3 of the Telecom War, where Untara against the Rumble was always going to get to a point where the game would be decided, and they had strong wave clear in other lanes. The wave clear is not here in this game, so the ability to stall for Longzhu, I think, depends more on mistakes from Samsung rather than necessarily it just being able to be pulled to ultra late game by delay tactics. The delay tactics are minimal from Longzhu. It's more about BDD forcing people to react to bot lane while they buy time. If Khan gets his items, he'll be in a great spot, but it's a much bigger if in this game than it was in Game 3 of that Telecom.
Well, Samsung grouping up here. There's 4 in the mid lane, going to be pushing in, maybe looking for this tier 2 turret. Early on, current call opened up here by Prey just to try to zone them back as that Rift Herald charges in. We'll whittle this one down. A couple more shots perhaps from Ruler to help take this one down. Will come through as BDD looks for that entrance from the side flank, but won't be able to find it. Prey pops Rift Herald in the end, but the split push is not done yet because Cuvée, he's starting to chunk out this turret here up top. This voyage comes through. Gorilla and BDD both arriving. Just try to clear this one out, but the turret nearly goes down. Samsung, they're not done yet by the look of it.
They'll just keep pushing as a 5-man with about 4,000 gold lead. They feel strong. They continue to push. The Ocean Drake is ticking. The engage from Longzhu is pretty minimal.
Well, jump in onto Cuz, drops down that Hextech ultimatum, goes up with a repel. Has to come back down right as it expires.
BD just dies to the shockwave.
Yes, takes him out with that shockwave, as you say. Doesn't get himself out of there. Had the flash available as well, but still just falls, and the turret will go down as well. Samsung just stacking on the objectives left, right, and center. Now 5,000 gold in the lead, 4-2, 5-1 in turrets. And you'd have to expect that a Baron can come in very quickly. Perhaps after that we see that Infernal Spawn. Ruler not going to get locked down by that Deadly Flourish. And Cuvée here to frontline. They maybe just try to turn things around here. Ruler will go ahead and peel back, but Cuvée is just walking towards 3 members of Longzhu like it's nobody's business.
Khan?
Oh, there we go. Well, it wasn't his business, is what it was.
Well, that was silly from Cuvée. One of the first big mistakes from Samsung so far this game.
He went from looking so tough to looking just absolutely foolish.
He didn't die a hero's death, that's for sure. He
like,
died.
Yes, run away from me, and then she's like, oh wait.
It was very much like a hero's death straight into a fool's death by the end.
Yeah.
He didn't know he was playing the fool until he was dead.
It's like one of those moments in a movie where somebody thinks like, yeah, they're all so afraid of me, they're all running away, but there's actually just like a bigger guy behind them. And then he gets his ass kicked.
Well, he's one of the few that are getting their ass kicked on the side of Samsung, and that's after he did his own ass kicking earlier. So, you know, if you're gonna put on an air of superiority and then pay for it, might as well be when your team is in the control spot like Samsung are. They even get an answering Infernal Drake.
And there's going to be another one to follow. So 3 Infernals in this game.
Longzhu really trying to put up their hands and work out how they get to the next one, because something would have to change pretty significantly. They kind of meander around the Baron, and that means Samsung just push through. They already prepped both the inner turrets earlier. They just want to break the base, and Longzhu very out of position to defend, and with weak wave clear like we mentioned by the time they actually do get to the end.
I mean, they're trying to get there. Gorilla going to be the first one
Still
really
not
to
there.
respond in mid. As Prey, BDD, and Cuz all make it to the base gate. Proto Belt tossed out there just to try to clear out the wave. The classic build here for the Cuz, but still not really in that strong of a spot where it's going to be as relevant as it could be in the meantime. Cuvée looking for that final inner turret down here on the bottom side of the map. The Triforce would be able to take this one rather swiftly, but the rest of Longzhu do arrive to defend this. Wave gets cleared out. We're just shooting away as they go ahead and take this up.
Trinity Force Fiora does push very, very quickly, so will be 2 turrets here most likely, even with Cuvée racing to get there.
Can he go in for the kill, though, is going to be the question. It's a tactical sweep, already chunks down Khan significantly as Cuvée keeps pushing in. Shockwave, meanwhile, down on the bottom side of the map. Not going to hit. Post comes out. Cuvée just finishes him off with that final proc at the Triforce. Khan's HP bar just disappears.
The item lead still working out for Cuvée. Also had the level lead as well. He can start the pushing. Unanswerable by Khan. He's not in the spot he thought he would be. The bot side of the map. Devour denied the Orianna ultimate from picking up a kill. Turret stays alive, but Cuvée is pushing that minion wave, and kind of all the good work done by Longzhu is thwarted once again.
Yep, now they have to worry about that top inhib turret. As the wave gets ready to come over there with him. Prey the closest one so far, but that would be a very foolish allocation of the squad. But in the meantime, Cuvée, he's just going to walk down to mid, says, top lane be damned, they'll just go kill your ADC. Way too late from Gorilla with the Abyssal Voyage, and now he's going to be in trouble. Cuvée, just a one-man army going inside the base looking for the kill, won't quite find it. Does have to flash away, has the hook shot to try to take himself out of here, but BDD hot on his heels, gets the pop in the end, does kill him with the death mark.
There's always a meanwhile at in a game like this, and the meanwhile at was the inner turret in bot going down. They can set up around the next turret as well. Khan is respawn. We are early enough in the game for the respawns not to be massive. Has 2 items as well. But Samsung have now taken down all inner turrets. They have so much control of the map. Easy for them to set their sights on the Baron next, and it's going to take a fanciful steal from Cuz, I would believe, to stop that from really being the icing on the cake for Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah. Even stopping that second Infernal.
Khan didn't want to kill the control ward for some reason. Saw Faker be guilty of that a few times last season.
It's just cockiness. Maybe he thinks he'll just go ahead and get it this time around.
Longzhu has had some good drafts. I like the Game 1 draft quite a lot, but this is the sort of draft where...
Nope, he just didn't see it.
In a game like this, Achilleos, if you get going in both solo lanes, then Samsung are drawn too thin, right? They can't respond to pressure everywhere. What can they do? But if you fall behind with low wave clear, and this is about as low wave clear you're going to see in the current meta. We don't really have Kassadin Fizz Jhin anymore. This is like the lowest wave clear you're going to see. They really don't have any way to win the game. The comps that win games recently are the Karma, Rumble, Caitlyn comps. You know, the really standard pushing lanes comps. If everything goes right for Longzhu, sure, they could still make it happen, but already they're taking some pretty big liberties and sending both their split push down bottom. Maybe that's the liberty they need.
Well, they will be able to go ahead and take away this inner turret. Second one snatched up here for the side of Longzhu. We're able to get that
Samsung
top
needs
one
to
on
do
the split
something,
push.
by the way, because they're going to lose this turret real fast.
Collapse is getting ready to come
They
around.
got to start
onto that
Baron, they got to do something, otherwise they're going to lose free objectives.
Seems like they're trying to bait out the brush. We'll actually say, screw it, let's just go ahead and start this one up. BDD and Khan taking away this turret.
If Cuz can steal the Baron, they can still win the game here.
A massive turnaround here for Longzhu Gaming. See Ambition, he's out of the pit. As Cuz tries to get there in time, Glacial Fissure comes through. Shockwave locks him out, he goes down. Unless Prey can take it away, which will not happen. That would be the only hope here. Now Prey trying to hightail it out of here to get himself out to safety. Gorilla wrapping around from the side. Does he have the Devour? Yes, he does. No flash to try to take him out, no exhaust. Gorilla just gonna have to give his own life so Prey can escape, but even that's not gonna happen. They lock him down, and Scumbag Ambition gonna take the kill away from Ruler, who had the ace in the hole ready to go. Bottom inhib does get taken out by BDD and Khan, but they can lose so much more off of this now Baron-empowered push from Samsung.
And Longzhu make a good decision. They try to set up a win condition, but if they had just drafted and played as smart as they do when they're behind, they would be in the control seat or in the driver's seat to make the game work. Because they try and make a desperate decision like they did at the end of game 2, they end up losing their inhibitor. It's a trade of inhibitors, but the Baron is there for Samsung. Pushing up a minion wave with Camille and the Baron buffs, they'll be able to dive. If Cuz stole the Baron in that world, this might be a Longzhu Game 3 victory against the tide of the early game. But in the end, it's great goaltending from Samsung. They ensure there's no way for the Elise to get there. And even with all the evacuation, the ultimate's available here. They get the sighting onto Prey, take him down as well.
And right as the bullet connects, Ambition comes up with the steal. That nice little Void Rush. Infernal Drake now getting ready to spawn. And you can see Ambition already set to go ahead and scoop that one up. Longzhu would really desperately need that objective just to try to get some extra stats back so they can compete with Samsung, but it's not going to happen. Instead, they're going to be set that much further back. And Samsung, yeah, they look pretty slated to go ahead and close out this game. Which I say that, but game 2 happened. And there was a massive delay by Longzhu. Could happen again, but doesn't seem like it's very likely.
Even though it was a heroic defense, Longzhu did lose that game. And the defensive tools here are a lot smaller for Longzhu than in game 2.
I mean, they don't have nearly as much tankiness.
Nope. They got damage. Physical damage. And Randuin's now completed on the side of Cuvée.
But barely anybody to hit with it.
Wave clear also minimal, so with the Baron buff still riding on the members for another minute or so. They push up. Should be another inhibitor turret. There it is.
Does go down. Second inhibitor likely to follow as Ruler is perfectly safe, basically topped off here on this Caitlyn. With plenty of range, just go ahead and keep firing away. Coon does connect in onto him, but poor JJ immediately walking forward. Cuz goes in, looking for the kill. Now Khan from the sidelines. Death marks on him as well as the Ignite. He might go down to the backside. The shields at the last second do keep him alive, but Ambition falls. Inhibitor still standing for the moment, but Crown answers a kill in onto Prey. Now looking for BDD as he dashes himself away. Makes it back to the fountain, but honestly, this looks like this could just be the end of the game. Samsung knocking down that first Nexus turret, second one following suit as Longzhu desperately tries to hold on to the messages of this base. Hextech ultimatum thrown down in onto Gorilla. He'll be taken out by Cuvée as BDD does find Crown.
a monster.
Needs so much more because Ruler is still there, still firing off with that Caitlyn. Cuvée, an absolute monster, as you say, comes up with a double kill, won't even die at the end. And Samsung, in the end, now they can smile. Now they can breathe easy because they do win this series and they do take possession of first place.
In the end, they tried to do too many things here, Longzhu Gaming, with their draft in the last game. I think a Corki or something a bit more balanced in the mid lane to provide true wave clear was what they needed. But then Ambition, with the drafted hand, ganked and ganked to plenty on the top side. That sent the Camille impossibly ahead. No way for Fiora to get back in. Fiora an onlooker as Samsung took turret after turret after turret. And the accumulation of golden items meant the Ruler was under no threat in the backline, was hit by the death mark, but no spells, no auto attacks, lived through all of that at the end and was there to last hit the Nexus as well. Longzhu Gaming so close, a bit like KT Rolster were yesterday. Great game 1 from Longzhu, but in the end, it goes the way of the big gun. It goes the way of the bigger favorite for Worlds, and Longzhu Gaming still have work to do. Are they going to be a playoff team on the balance of this series? Still looking likely. 6-3 in their first round robin. But Samsung Galaxy, with their 2-1 victory, end the first round robin, first place.
Nicely done for these guys. Like I said, something they can actually feel good about, because Game 2, nobody should feel good about it except for us, the viewers watching at home, because it was a very entertaining series, but way too crazy for these players to feel rewarded at all after that one. But Samsung first place now, Longzhu in a bit of a rough spot there. Not falling below Afrika, but we could see something similar happen after the next couple games here. Afrika, if they could net themselves a 2-0 victory, would certainly help them out, but they're still a ways away.
Afrika can kind of stabilize the middle of the pack if they're able to win in their second series and move up to 5 match wins. In fact, one of the teams have to. It is the 2 teams with 4 match wins. One will move to 5 and thus only be a match win behind Longzhu as the second round robin opens. So a bit more parity in the middle of the pack after the early start of the season, where it felt like SKT, KT, Samsung, and Longzhu would be kind of the big 4 at the top. Nothing's decided just yet, even though you see some strained faces from the likes of Khan on your screen. Wait and see who the MVP is for the final game. It's probably going to have to be Cuvée. How much work he was able to do. Apologies to Ambition and his great play on Rek'Sai, making us a bit more of a believer in the Rek'Sai in this series after so many people have tried it in the past week or 10 days with, let's say, mixed results at best. Looking over some of the last fights, look how low Ruler falls.
It's
4 vitals, none of them hit. Ultimate use, only an ignite, no auto attack. So living through a grand challenge and a death mark. Of course, an asterisk of nothing on top of that, but both those abilities being used for no kill onto what, a 400 HP. Caitlyn lets you know that, well, this game was very much in the emergency stages for Longzhu Gaming, so not able to close it. Cuvée smiling on your screen. Very likely to be, I believe it's just equal top in the MVP rankings with a victory.
Yeah, he would be tying up against BDD, actually, if it is him. But first, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the damage chart. So Caitlyn handed over yet again to Samsung. Game 1 wasn't really there for Ruler. Game 2 absolutely destroys with it, 26,910 damage. And Cuvée trailing not that far off with the Camille, but he was in a split push really for the most part, so the fact that he did that much damage tells you that he was doing some immense work. And
from the side of Samsung, consider that they won this series with Crown not having in any way a great performance, one of his weakest of the season, and yet still Samsung beats Longzhu. In another series where Crown stepped up, would they have just had too much firepower? Would it have been a 2-0? We will never know the answer to that. We do know that Cuvée picks up the MVP, is now equal with BDD, who had plenty of heroics in this particular series. Cuvée, BDD, Crown, top 3 in that round. Ambition here, great pathing, came in, committed to the flash.
I mean, he was the star of games, 2 and 3 there, right at the beginning, just helping get those first bloods coming through, the repeat ganks, just locking everybody down.
But you don't really need that asterisk of right at the beginning, because consider the matchup. It's Camille versus Fiora. It's often decided in the beginning. It's decided when it's still getting going, where the item leads will be, both of them building the same itemization, with this being a Trinity Force Fiora. And Ambition did the work when he needed to. It was the bot lane in Game 2. It was the top lane focus in Game 3 in a swingy snowball matchup. Cuvée had an item lead for the rest of these replays when it comes to the 1v1, and then after that kill, pushed up a minion wave and picked up a Jhin as well. Happy times for him. It's that final fight that we already saw replayed a moment there as they could not take down Ruler. Shockwave onto a couple. Playing front to back are Samsung as Ruler does not fall. No more initiation for Longzhu. No hope of winning the fight. The base goes down. So do Longzhu in this series.
Tragic ending for these guys. So very close in Game 2, but we go for the split push match there with the Fiora in the top lane, and Khan just getting ganked and then shut down from there. It was a big snowball victory for the side of Samsung in game number 3. They do maintain a spot in the top 5. Longzhu still looking like favorites to make it into the playoffs, but for now Samsung is your number 1 team in LCK. We'll be finishing out the first round robin at that. So let's go ahead and hear from the MVPs. Today we'll be throwing over to Steven for the translation.
Thank you very much, Papa and Killer, for a great cast for today's match. And this is Steven for today's translation. And now we're moving into interview booth with the winner of today's match, Samsung, who's taking victory of 2-1 score against Longzhu Gaming. And congratulations for you guys. And is a solo MVP for Cubit. And Dangun is saying that everyone's shouting out your name very loud in the stadium. How do you feel about it? And Cubit said today's match was very tough for me overall, and I'm very happy that although we had a hard time, we managed to take over the match for today, and he's really happy. And Cloud Templar said, did you actually thought about that you're going to get the solo MVP for today's match? And then Cubase said that at the third game I kind of predicted, but I'm more happy to be our team to win for today's match. And Dangun said as if this is the last match for the first round, and you guys managed to finish the first round with the first place. How do you feel about that? And Cubase, he's really happy to be in the first place, even though in the very short time. And Cloud Temper is saying that as what you said, the game was very tough. And the opponent Longzhu Gaming was very good at gank and also very fierce in overall lanes. So, didn't you guys have any trouble during the match? And then Cubase saying that overall, when you play League of Legends, when mid lane getting when you get mid lanes getting bad during the game, game's getting tough. But we tried to hold and hold in the second, in the first and second, but we couldn't make it out in the first game. But I think we did a pretty good job in the second and third game. And Dangun is saying that in the second game it wasn't easy for you guys, although you guys keep pushing and pushing. Weren't you guys kind of worried about the game might turn back to Longzhu Gaming? And Cube saying that we kind of want to finish game quickly, but Longzhu Gaming is holding back really tight. And we make some of the mistakes, but we stick as a team, so we made a great result in the second game. And Dangun is saying that we brought some highlights for the game. So what kind of call were going on during this? And then Cube is saying that the other teammates were going for the Barons, shouting up for Baron, and I told them to keep holding them in the Baron pit, and that's why I go in and finish the game. So basically you said that just get the Alice and push all the turrets and inhibitor, and Cube is saying that that's right, that's all it. And Cloud Temper is asking about the Gnar pick because many of the top players are picking Gnar for this day for playing against the Renekton. And what do you think about that? And Cube is saying that although Gnar is not that great champ, but it's really good to be a champion that more coming in like Renekton is playing against those kind of champions. Really great pick to be used. And Dangun is asking about the third game, about the opponent picking very aggressive picks in the top and mid lane, picking Fiora and Jett. So why you're thinking to pick as a Camille? And then Cube is said that I was looking over the Ben picks, and I think Camille was pretty good pick to be picked in the first. So that's why I really confident about playing Camille. And Cloud Timber saying that if we say Camille, Camille's like you, Cube. And then the Cloud Temper say that, do you think that Camille is a really great pick for this meta currently? And then Cube says it depends on the Benson pick, but I think Camille is a really good pick to be used in this meta. And now Dangun says many fans of League of Legends are having debates about is it Renekton is good, better, or the Fiora is good. And then now the Cube is saying that our top lane fight is mostly depend on the jungler. So this overall game was, I think, it's because of Ambition did really great job on for coming at the top gang, so that really helped. So now they're going back to the looking at the highlight for the third game, getting kill. And Dangun said, did it? Ambition made a call to going in top. And then Cubase said, yeah, Ambition was very confident about getting ganked at that point. And Cloud Temple said, did you see the angle of you getting the solo kill here? And then Cubase said, yeah, definitely. I just saw it as soon as he comes in with the Q skill. And Dangun saying that recently, when we look over your insider cam before game start, we can see the you guys talking about Big Brother, Ruler. You guys are very cheer for Ruler. So what's going on inside the booth? And QA is saying that overall, yeah, Ruler doing a really great job. And although he made some sort of mistakes, I think he did a really great job on the third game. And they're having a lot of feedbacks between the games. And Cloud Temple said, what kind of situation were you thinking in the third game before you going into the game? Even during the bans and pick, what kind of call were going on to manage to have what kind of setting that you guys want to fight as playing against Longzhu? And then the QA saying that they don't want to be because the Longzhu were picking very aggressive in the split, like a bottom and top splitting. So we managed to try not to be play along with them. We tried to play as our style. And Dangun saying that as a last word, if there's any message for your fans for today's match? And QA is saying that although it was very tough for us, I think all the fans will love to watch our game for today's match. And really thankful to everyone who came here. And now they're just making jokes about QV, and Dangun say your interview has been improved in previous. Anyway, congratulations for the Samsung for the winning of today's match. And I think that's it for today's match interview. And giving it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Steven. And welcome back. Throwback for Steven. He was here back in 2016.
Yeah, Joel will be missing today and tomorrow's match day. So thank you to Steven for stepping in to give us a bit of insight from QV, who right up there with the MVP alongside BDD.
But whoo, good lord! If you're just tuning in, then you missed one hell of a match. Go back, watch the VODs, because that was a sight to behold.
It also means a lot at the top of the table, Achilles, when we flash over to the rankings, because Samsung has the head-to-head over SK Telecom T1, 2-0 in their first series. Might have been 8 in a row for SKT, but the first one is what holds them back from exiting the first round robin in first spot, as Samsung Galaxy, with that head-to-head, for now at least, is first.
Yeah, see how long they can hold on to that one as we get ready to go into that second round robin, but a very good run here for Samsung. Longzhu as well, much improved compared to the spring split, find themselves in that fourth place spot at the moment. Couldn't net third. Needed that victory in order to do so, but we're not done yet. We have another exciting matchup for you here today. Jin Air Green Wings is going to be facing off against Afrika Freaks. Both of these teams tied up right now around at that fifth place spot. Winner will take sole possession of that as well.
And the fifth place spot is that all-important one, right? Because fifth place, you're in playoffs, you have a chance of making the final. Sixth spot, you're watching on, wishing you were just that much better. This feels like these are the two teams that are going to decide fifth. It feels like one of these two teams goes to the playoffs, one of them doesn't. And of course, this single match won't do that. They still have a full round robin. Yeah. But the results of these two head-to-heads, we'll see it twice. Let's see who gets first blood and gets the first spot towards the finals.
All right, we're gonna go to a quick break. Let the players get settled up in the booth. So we'll be back in about 28 minutes or so. We'll see you then for our second match.